Um, so, for those who do not know who you are, can you introduce yourself for me?
Hey, hi, my name is Safia Palmer. I'm a junior at Eastern Connecticut State University, majoring in English with a concentration in creative writing.
And what inspired you to write Not Too Rocky?
So the assignment was to write a nature poem, but I don't go in nature very often. So I decided to recall a time recently where I went to Rocky Neck, the beach, with my friends. I just thought it was a good time to bring up since it was like all the emotions. And when I write, I usually like to talk more about how I feel, like in general, and kind of write more abstract rather than chronological. So it was a bit hard for me to make it not sound like just any day at the beach, sound that particular day.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel that sometimes too with my film, uh, wanting to get the message across to people. But I honestly, like, I understood your poem and it really spoke to me. I loved how abstract it was. So I was drawn to the poem because I don't like the beach, and I really understood your, I have no business at the beach from my own perspective because I hate sand and I don't like getting sand into things. So I really liked the journey you created. My favorite line was lying in the bosom of the mother star. Like, I totally understood that it was like the sun, but it just was written so beautifully.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. What came easy for you for writing the poem?
I guess my word choices. Like I like to write with a lot of metaphors rather than writing specifically saying like I was laying in the sand or specifically saying I wanted to go in the water and more talk about waltzing with the waves. I just like wordplay. I think it makes like poems sound more clever and like more interesting, and it gives the reader this sort of connection to you when they understand what you're saying, even though you didn't specifically say that thing. So yeah.
I agree. Um, when I read your poem, it was almost like getting a glimpse into like you as a person, you know? And so what was your favorite line that you wrote?
My favorite line I'd probably say is like in the second stanza where I said orange polyester wrapped around my body like caution tape on a sacred temple, sand setting off its booby traps. I think that's my favorite line just because I was basically describing that I'm wearing an orange two-piece bathing suit, and like the body is a sacred temple and the sand is getting into places it shouldn't. So that was my favorite line, I'd say.
Let's go deeper into that. When you were writing that line, or just the poem in general, like where were you trying to go with the poem?
Um, I'd say I was trying to show like everything that was going on in my mind at the time because it's not that I necessarily didn't want to be there, but I didn't know what to expect because the only other few times I went to the beach I didn't really enjoy myself because I don't tan because I'm already naturally brown. I can't swim, so I don't really go in the water. So it was like the poem was a journey of me, being open-minded and just trying those things. I tried to go in the water, I tried to lay out and tan, I tried to just relax and just let myself be and like stop thinking and wanting everything. So I kind of wanted this to be like a metacognitive process of like me starting to enjoy the beach because I'm one of those people that likes to think ahead, think about the future. Like I'm never present, I'm always somewhere else, like in my mind. So at this one moment, like this one day, I decided I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be present. My body and my mind are gonna be in the same place for once, and I'm just gonna enjoy myself. So, yeah.
If there was one thing that the audience could take away from this project that we're doing, what would you want them to be understand?
I want them to understand that even if you do something one time, that doesn't mean that you should never like consider doing it again. Especially if it took so long for you to get back to that. It's always worth it to try something again. Sometimes just changing one thing might make that experience so much worthwhile. Like usually I would go to the beach with my parents maybe 2 times in my life ever before this. But this time I went to the beach with my friends and it made all that difference and I really loved it and I would definitely go again. So I'd say, don't like cross things out of your mind completely just because of one bad experience. It's always worth it to try again.
And I honestly think that's really beautiful because, like, I totally get that. As someone who also has pre-reserved or had pre-reserved thoughts about, like, oh, I don't like the beach, because I've had a couple bad experiences. Definitely going with people like your friends can really change your perspective on things because, you don't need to go to tan. Just going to have fun and hang out with people can make such a difference. And something that really, even though, like, I don't like the beach, that really drew me to your poem was this idea of being able to, like, be free. And we right now are stuck indoors, and there's so much that we can't do with friends and can't go with friends, and just the simplicity but also nuanced writing of your poem in the way of, like, it just being a day of going to the beach, even though, you previously thought you weren't going to have fun, and then having fun, I think, is something that we're all craving right now.
Yeah.
And it came across so beautiful to me. You're very welcome. And then my last question would be, would you read the poem for me? Would you be the voice of the uh, little story visual that we're going to tell?
Yes, I'd love to.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Not too rocky. I have no business at the beach. My body refuses to float, and my skin is already blessed by the sun. But I gave in. Orange polyester wrapped around my body like caution tape on a sacred temple. Sand setting off its booby traps. The sun lights a match on the tip of my skin, lightly toasting me like a marshmallow. I laid flat and closed my eyes, laying in the bosom of the mother star. Nothing between us but SPF 75. For once, I thought about nothing. A clear sky rid of the anxiety that usually clouds my thoughts. Nothing but silhouettes of seagulls crossed my mind. It was no longer the oasis I'd escaped to. I found another at Rocky Neck. Hot sand warms up to me, begging me to stay the night. But I wanted to waltz with the water. I let go while the waves led my hips as far as I would go. Ankles anchored by the seaweed, the splashes tickling my ears gently. I could only see through half of my eyes, the other half sheltered from the sun's glare. But I didn't need to see to know that maybe the beach did have something for me.